This is going to be our lesson on using our calculator to graph our linear equation that we just got on our linear models lesson. And so I've already got my nSpire calculator up, and no matter whenever you turn it on, it may take you to the scratch pad, or it may take you to a document. It depends upon uh, what it was left on when the previous user had it, or it may take you to a screen that looks like this. It doesn't matter. To get to this screen, you touch that on key, which has a little house next to it. Now, you can graph on the scratch pad. You can see that there's a graph option, but I really like to graph in the documents because there's a little bit more functions and more features. So we're going to go over here to the new documents, number 1, and we're going to pick it. And you never want to save. So we're going to hit no. And then if you're looking, we've got several different options. Number 2 says add a graph. So you can either use your up and down arrows here like this and go down, but mine like kind of goes crazy. Or you can sort of scroll with it, but for y'all, it's probably just better to use the up and down arrows and then either hit enter or hit the one in the middle. I'm just going to select it with my touch screen. Now you'll notice it says fx equals, which is f of x equals. Remember our equation was y equals negative 25x plus 200, and y is the same thing as f of x. So it's already got the first part of it for us. All we have to do is type in what we had after the equal sign, which was the negative 25x, and make sure you're using the letters down below. This is not a multiply. This is an equation, so it's an x plus 200. So there's our equation there, and then you're going to hit enter. And it looks kind of wonky, like a straight line, but we know when we sort of did our basic graph that it had more of a downward slant. But look at our numbers here. Our y-axis is up to positive 6.6, and we know that we were starting at 200. So that's the problem there, is that our graph isn't anywhere near as big. Then there's a lot of different ways that you can handle it. You can actually use your mouth and click on those numbers and retype them and change them. Or I'm going to show you how to use the menu key. You do menu, and then you go over here to option number 4, window zoom. And I'll bring up some more options. If you look down at the bottom, A, it says zoom fit. And it just sort of fits more of it to the screen, which is very nice. And then if we really want to look at the X and the Y intercept, and we can see that now it's got a nice downward slant, and it is showing us the equation that we typed in. We're going to use the trace feature. So once again, it's the menu button, which is just below the on key. And then we're going to use the trace. So that's option number 5. And then graph trace, the very first one. And when you do that, it usually almost automatically pops it up on the y-intercept. And it does show you the number. You can see it down at the bottom, 0, 200, which is what we said. It was going to be at 200. But if you want to make sure it's on the y-intercept, you can move that cursor off of it and then go back to it. The only way that you can control the cursors are with the left and right arrows on that middle keypad. So I'm going to push my left arrow a few times. And you can see it kind of takes it up to the left. And if I want to go back to it, and then you'll notice it very nicely labels it for us so that we know for sure, yes, that is the y-intercept, and it is at 200. So now if I want to keep bringing it down to my x-axis, I'm going to keep using the right arrow because I need to go to the right. And you can see the y numbers are getting smaller on the coordinate pairs that they're showing at the bottom. It's a lot faster on the handheld ones, but the computer one is so sensitive that I'm trying to make sure I go nice and slow, or it just speeds right past it. Almost there. Boom, now it's on it. Now it doesn't say x-intercept, it says 0, because another word that we use for x-intercept is 0, and we notice that it's got the positive 8. So that means our x-intercept is at 0, and before, when we did it algebraically by substituting in and solving the equation, we also got 8. So we know that the graph started up here with 200 gallons of water in the tank, but then down here at the 8, meaning 8 hours later, because our x-axis was hours, there was no water left in the tank. So that's how we're going to be using our calculators to graph and to also look at x and y intercepts.